Okay, so as soon as it's the international break and absolutely nothing's going on and everyone's bored, I thought I'd do a video, kind of a tier list video, and rank every Wolves player this season from best to worst. Um, it feels like a good time to do it. Obviously, this is the kind of last kind of stopped international break until March. Obviously, Wolves 8th in the Premier League. It's been a pretty good start, but that's obviously the club as a whole and Bruno Lage. This will just be about the players. Um, the five tiers I've got is obviously NA, because some players in this list just won't have played, like John Ruddy, for example. Um, Underwhelming, so players that I'm not saying they've been awful, but you kind of expected more. Average have just been run of the mill, good, and then obviously someone who's in contention to probably be player of the year at the end of the season if their form continues in the way that it keeps going. So obviously John Ruddy would go in NA, and there's a few others that will probably go in there as well. Who should start? Let's start with Dramatino. I think after the Palace game, there's kind of Traore kind of went out of fashion a few weeks ago, and now it feels like everyone wants him to start again. For me, you've got to put him in underwhelming purely because actually, it's a bit. I'll leave him there for now. I think that's purely based on how good we know he is, and obviously the start of the season is probably biasing this, given how good he was at the start. But he's still flawed. This is his second manager now, and this is his fourth year at Wolves. Don't forget that. Is he any better than when he first came? Probably a bit, but I don't think his value's really gone up. I think Hwang coming in hasn't helped him at all, because it feels like Adama and Bruno Lage is kind of seen more as a left winger, and then Podence and Trincao share that right. But I think it has been an underwhelming start to the season for Adama, as much as I love the guy. Since you spoke about him, Hwang has to go in good. I think Hwang's been a bit overrated by some of our fans. That's not a dig at Hwang, by the way, but obviously he's got 4 goals this season, which is obviously great. Bit lucky, his XG's at 2, although he should have had an assist. The one, look, I like Hwang. Obviously, we should buy him permanently in January, and I think we'll get that done. He's a great presser. He's a good finisher. The only concern I have about him on the ball, his hold up play is really bad. And like Trincao, actually, he takes too much time on the ball. It was like, I think it was the Villa game where he held the ball up. Was it Leeds? It was one of those games where he gave the ball away on the box, and then it was Villa. It was the John McGinn goal. I like Hwang, but he's 26 in his prime. There's still some things he needs to work on for me, but overall, he's been a good signing. Everyone likes Hwang. Good. Trincao, I'm going to put him in average. I know a lot of people want him in underwhelming, and I completely understand why, but I think Trincao's been a bit unlucky this season. I feel like the fans haven't taken to him yet. When you look at him, obviously he plays 600 minutes and got no goals, no assists. That's concerning, but his XG is 2.3. His expected assist 2.9 or 0.6. So overall, he should probably have 3 goals and assists, which I think if he did have, everyone would be pretty happy. All his metrics are okay. He's not really an incredible presser. He's not really, obviously, a great defender. He's not bad either. He's a good dribbler. I think the thing is, he's one of those players where his underlying numbers completely the complete opposite of like when you actually watch him. I don't want to put him in underwhelming just because I don't think he's been as bad as people say he is, and I don't want to put him in there. I think he's been okay. I don't think he's been. I think out of our 4 wingers, he's been the second best. Obviously, it's Hwang, Trincao, then Adama. So I think you've kind of got to put him in average. There's more to come, but I like him. And with Vitinha, for example, when we had him last season, I didn't see anything from Vitinha to make that 20 million move permanent. With Trincao, I see some stuff to why Wolves might make that permanent. Might as well finish off the forwards of Podence. I'm going to put him. I think it's been underwhelming overall just because he's hardly played. But when he has played, he's been okay. So I'm going to put him in average. Maybe that's a bit harsh. I'm putting him there purely because he's hardly played. When he played against Southampton, he was okay. He's come on really late the last few games. He's not really done anything, so I can't really credit him with that. And then in the cup games against Tottenham and Nottingham Forest, he scored in both of them. So you kind of have to put him average. I want to see more of Daniel Podence. I want to see him start against, was it West Ham or have we got Norwich? Whoever we've got in the next game. I want to see Daniel Podence. Why not? Fabio Silva, obviously, he's played 40 Premier League. I know he's played 7 games, but he's played 40 minutes. I can't really judge him, but you could put him in underwhelming, but it's not his fault. Although I suppose he did play the Carabao Cup game and get hooked at half time. But I'll leave Fabio there. He's just not played enough for me. Although overall, I'm surprised he's not got more minutes. I thought Bruno Lage, a lot of people kind of felt Nuno wasn't getting the best out of him. And an attacking coach, he'd just automatically get better. But he hasn't done that yet. It's a bit concerning, but he hasn't played enough. Let's go. Obviously, Pedro Neto has not played enough either. Dendoncker, I think, underwhelming. Actually, not average. Dendonker's just a bang average footballer. Like, I don't hate Dendoncker, but he's not good at anything. Like, obviously, blocks and clearance he gets a lot of, but that's not really a skill. He's dominant in the air. That's one thing he is good at, to be fair. But he doesn't really do any defending. He's not a great presser. He's terrible on the ball. He's not really a goal threat, considering how good chances he gets in. But he's not been underwhelming because no one expects anything from him. He's just an all right third choice midfielder. But we need another midfielder. But he's just been what Dendoncker is. Obviously, Jason Mosquera's not played enough. Roman Sace, I'm going to put in good. I think Roman Sace gets a bit of unfair criticism from our fan base. I'm not saying he's like amazing or anything, but he always plays a lot of minutes. He's never injured. He's really good in the air. If you look at his non-penalty XG, he's in the top 1% for centre-backs. And obviously, playing in a back three helps that. That's why he has so many progressive passes, and he's a pretty good ball carrier, but he's actually a good centre-back in a back three. He's never really let the club down. He's been here 6 years now? I'm surprised he's not become more of a fan favourite. He's been a pretty good player. There's a reason Willy Bolly hasn't got back in this team, and Roman Sace is one of them. Obviously, Bolly's not played enough. Same with Johnny. Conor Cody, I'm going to put in good as well. Conor Cody's fine. If we switch to back four, obviously you drop him. But he hasn't really done anything wrong. He was awful against Brentford. He was pretty bad when he came against Tottenham in the Cup, although he played on the right side of the back three, if memory serves, for some reason. And he did come off the bench, to be fair. But I haven't really seen him get dominated by a big centre forward, really. I guess apart from Ivan Toney. But I think he's been fine. I think he's been better than fine. I think a lot of people thought that he'd be probably down here when a new manager came in. Obviously, the formations kind of helped him. But I think he's had an alright season. To finish off the back three, Elton Max Killman goes in player of the season nominee. The good thing about Killman, he still has things to improve. Max Killman, he's really bad. I've spoken about this before. He's getting better in the air. Last season, his aerial win rate or aerial wins was 1.6. It's up to 2.3 already, so that's something that's going up. But he's a good ball carrier. He's a good, well-rounded defender for someone his age. Well, not his age, but for the amount of minutes he's played. Obviously, he's 24, but he's probably played the minutes of a 19, 20-year-old. I still don't think he's good enough to be in the England team. I don't really get why our fans want him to be in the England team either. I don't really get why that benefits Wolves in any way. But he's had a good start to the season. It's nice to see him play. He's the big beneficiary of Nuno leaving. Keanu Herver, he's played the Leicester game. He played half of the Man United game, and he's played the 2 cup games. He's been fine. Not really underwhelming. No one really expected him to play. Marçal, average. I don't hate Fernando Marçal. I was looking at his FBref earlier, or now. His numbers aren't as terrible as I assume. I've never actually looked at it. I just don't like him for some reason. But all his numbers are fine. He's such an average fullback. That's not an insult. He's just obviously a backup. I don't think he should have played the amount of minutes he's played this season. I think Ray Nuri, who's 11 years younger, is by far superior to him. But no, Marcel's a backup fullback who's 33 and out of contract at the end of the season. No one expects anything from him. And he was okay in the first few games. But we need to move on from him. Ray Nuri, you've got to put him in good. Obviously, he's not played loads, so it kind of offsets it a bit. But I think Ray Nuri is a really good fullback, as is Nelson Semedo, by the way. I'll also put him in good. I think we look better when we play both of those, at least going forward anyway. I know people don't like Nelson Semedo, but whether you like him or not, he is a good footballer, and all his metrics are good. And what he is good at, he is very good at. He's a really good presser. His tackle numbers are always really high. He's useful on the ball. Needs to score more, needs to assist more, and he needs to probably become a bit more intelligent in terms of interceptions and stuff. But all those things are applicable to Aït-Nouri. And the one thing you could say is, considering Ray Aït-Nouri's 20 and costs 10 million quid, and Semedo's in his prime and costs 28, their numbers are literally the same. I like Semedo's numbers. He's a really good presser, really good tackles, good progressive carrier, all these sort of things. But, FBref has this thing where it kind of compares their data to people similar to them in their position. And Ray Aït-Nouri is the most similar fullback to him in Europe's top 5 leagues, which I don't think is a bad thing. It shows we've both got 2 good fullbacks. But for me, what that shows is both our fullbacks are kind of the same level. One of them costs 28 mil, and one of them costs 10 mil. But I think that's more of a compliment to Ray Aït-Nouri, that he's putting up the kind of numbers a 28 million pound fullback does at the age of 20. I really like Ray Aït-Nouri. He needs to start now. Marcel's back for the Norwich or West Ham game. if Rain ain't new, he's not starting, I'll be really annoyed, to be honest. Bruno Jordão's not played enough. Don't even know who he is at this point. Raul Jimenez, yeah, I think you have to put Raul in good. 2 goals, 2 assists. That kind of matches up with his XG. I still don't feel like I've seen him have many shots, to be honest. It still feels like under Nuno when he wasn't really creating anything for him. But when you do look at his FBref page, he's all pretty well rounded. He's not really bad at anything. He's come back the player we expected or wanted him to be. He still has another gear to go to, obviously. I'd like to see Fabio and him rotate a bit more. But overall, it's been a pretty good start to the season, and no one's been going, is this the same Raul Jimenez that we had before? And that's a big credit to him. Dramatino, I think Dramatino's actually been our best midfielder consistently. I think Ruben also going good. I think Ruben's had higher highs and lower lows and has been dropped a few times, whereas Bruno Lage seems to favour Dramatino as Nuno did. I think Joe's probably been more consistent, like he's been 7 out of 10 every game. Ruben's had a couple of bad games, but he's had, like the Everton game, for example, he was the best player on the pitch, which is fine. That's what you'd expect from a 35-year-old and then a 22-year-old, right? Sorry, a 25-year-old. Is Ruben Neves 25? I think he is, right? But they've both had good seasons considering they have to play basically every minute because Dendonker's not very good and we don't have anyone else. And I'm just getting a bit bored of them. Like, maybe it's because we've been watching them for so long, we don't appreciate them, but we need a midfielder, man. I don't mind not getting a centre-back, it's fine, but we need a midfielder. Neves has had a good season. This has probably been his best season, actually, in the Premier League. Well, obviously, Championship season was the best one, but in terms of the Premier League, it's probably been his best season so far. I don't want to see him get dropped for Dendoncker, though. I don't care if we're playing Burnley away and Dendoncker, we need the height. I'd still want Ruben in there. And I think Dramatino, considering I wouldn't have been that arsed if we sold him to Porto or whoever he was linked with last summer, he's done really well and he's earned himself a new contract if he gets one. And then Jose Sarr, again, probably I'd personally probably put him player of the season. Maybe Killman, I don't really mind. But I know I show this metric a lot, but post-shot XG is kind of the best goalkeeping metric for shot stopping. And Jose Sarr's 5th now, 1.2. He's clearly in the top 5, but obviously this metric changes a lot, right? If you have one bad game and you should have saved 2 goals, you're automatically at the bottom, right? But Jose Sarr's consistently been in the top. Well, he's 5th now, but the whole season he's been basically in the top 3. Obviously, Aaron Ramsdale and Mendy have kind of just come out of nowhere recently, but and Alex McCarthy actually. But when Rui Patricio left, everyone was concerned because we'd gone from Portugal's number 1 to number 4. But he's been one of the better goalkeepers in the Premier League this season. He's been consistent. He's good on the ball. Obviously, he has the odd howler, but I think you kind of have to expect that when you play with his style. He's still adapting to a new league. I remember when Rui Patricio first joined, he got dropped for John Ruddy against Cardiff. Jose Sarr's not had to do that yet. He's adapted to the league quicker than an older and more experienced goalkeeper in Rui Patricio. So I think he's probably been one of our better players, and he's kind of overperformed to what people expected him to. And Wolves got a good deal there. Whether you like Wolves' business or not, you kind of have to accept the fact that that's a big W for Wolves. So yeah, that's everyone. I don't think I'm going to change anyone. You could drop Trincao, you could drop Prudence, and I wouldn't really have an issue with either of them. I know people probably want to drop Semedo, but I like Semedo personally. You can maybe put Ruben up there, I guess, as like an honourable 3rd place. Same with Hwang, just for his goal output, but I don't think his all-round performance has been as good as 4 goals suggests, right? Don't know, we should still buy him. It's a bit concerning how many players we have that haven't played. Obviously, John Ruddy you'd expect. I suppose some of them are injuries, but you want to see Willy Bolly and Fabio play a little bit more. But yeah, that's my tier list. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Tell me if there's anyone you disagree with. But I think I've been pretty fair with most of them. But if you enjoyed the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, peace.